All right. Jackie, I'll have you introduce us right now.
All right, awesome. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that all this information is useful to you and helps you with your compliance of the edible food recovery and make this simpler for you. That's the whole idea. So, with the City of Corona, we have our team here. Kathleen Metters is a sustainability supervisor overseeing all the waste and recycling programs. We have Lauren Borjas. She's our recycling intern. She's the guru of our team. And obviously, you guys met Allison. She is the owner of the app that we partnered with, Recycle It. I'm sorry, Carrot, which will hopefully simplify your documentation, which is required for edible food recovery. With that, I'm going to let Lauren do the presentation and we'll answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie, for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lauren, and as you've heard, I'm the intern for the Waste and Recycling Division for the City of Corona. I'm sure I've had the pleasure of meeting, most of you today, but I did want to go ahead and send a warm thank you for joining us and to learn more about solutions for simpler edible food recovery regarding SB 1383. If you do have any questions, you can email us at coronarecycles@coronaca.gov or we'll answer any questions at the end if time permits, so you could just drop them in the chat. All right. So, first, I want to explain a little bit more about California State Senate Bill SB 1383. So, it is a state legislation created to address two items regarding organic waste reduction. So, the first one would be to address food insecurity or to feed people. 1 in 5 Californians struggle with food insecurity. And then the second goal would be to fight climate change. So when you have organic waste and it is disposed in the landfill rather than, which would be improperly, it does create short-lived climate pollutants such as methane, and that could cause our climate to heat up. So our CalRecycle has set goals for us, and this would be the whole entire state of California by prioritizing food recovery efforts, such as donating to a food recovery organization rather than primarily focusing on organic waste. However, you still have to be compliant with both. And overall, SB 1383's goals are to reduce organic waste disposal by 75% in the year 2025, which is this year, and rescue 20% of all surplus food by 2025 as well. And so SB 1383 really involves collaboration within our Corona community. We recognize that understanding SB 1383 can be a new task for everyone. And so we really like to, reach out to all of our businesses, all of our edible food generators, our food recovery organizations. Um, and as you see, we have 11 food recovery organizations that help service the businesses in Corona. And so you'll see them on the screen here. And then we do a lot of times when we visit your businesses, your tier ones, your tier twos, your edible food generators, we go ahead and provide a list of contact information regarding each food recovery organization that is listed here. It is also posted on our website. So if you do see a food recovery organization here that you would like to partner with and extend a partnership with and maintain a written contract with, you can. You could either request that through our email or, like I said, go through our website. So we truly want to make, this process simpler for everyone. And of course, we are here to really focus on our edible food generators. Thank you for joining us again. And we'll get a little bit more into what clarifies, someone as an edible food generator. And so edible food generators. So this would be our tier ones and tier two. So they are split into two tiers. So tier one would include wholesale food vendors, food service providers, food distributors, grocery stores that are greater than 10,000 square feet, and supermarkets. And tier twos would be our hotels that have over 200 more rooms, large venues and events, health facilities with 100 or more beds, restaurants with more than or equal to 5,000 square feet or 250 seats, um, and local education agencies, state agency cafeterias with greater than 5,000 square feet or 250 seats. So as you see here, I'm sure that as a food edible food generator, you recognize, the type of food that you will produce more likely. So tier ones are more likely to have food that is unprepared. So that could be produce, heads of lettuce a lot of times. Tier twos would have the hot prepared food. So obviously, I'm sure as a business owner, as someone who works within an edible food generator, you would understand the needs of that business. And so with this in mind, we like to really stress the requirements of this, just because, like I said, it can't be a new task. So with this in mind, tier one and tier two generators, they're both required to follow all these requirements. So number one would be to donate the maximum amount of surplus edible food possible. Please note that the term edible food is not meaning, food that is no longer edible for human consumption. Edible food is a term that would be only for edible food, or only for human consumption, and that would meet all food safety standards. So this is not to apply to food that was either not at temperature or any other reason that would jeopardize the safety of the food. And so for tier one businesses, this might mean an extra few heads of lettuce or, a few couple tomatoes. Or for tier two, this might be a to-go order that never got picked up. But of course, that meets the same safety standards that you would, as per usual business. And number two, you must not intentionally spoil donatable food. And then you would have to establish a contract or an agreement with the food recovery service or organization. So like I said, the 11 that do service the city of Corona, that could be someone that you can partner with. Maintain records of your food recovery efforts, including the contact information of the food recovery organization, type, quantity in pounds, and frequency of food donations. So we'll get a little bit more into our record keeping, tips and suggestions as we go on in this presentation. And so I like to really focus on some educational material that we do provide within our site visits, and that's also on our website. And so I really want to go over setting up and maintaining a food donation program. So I think something that is really important is to identify food fit for donation. So as I said, food that is fit for human consumption would be donatable food. So I like to focus on the left here. Food not fit for human consumption, like moldy, discolored, smelly, or rotting food, that would not be fit for donation. Food that was in the danger zone for over 2 hours. So obviously, as people who own, edible food or businesses that produce edible food, I'm sure you all know about the danger zone. And any food that was not handled in accordance with standard kitchen safety and health protocol. And then what we really like to focus on, what we promote, is surplus food in holding. So that would be food that was not in service or that was in holding for service, but was not ultimately served. So this could be like at the end of the night, maybe you prep an extra couple cookies and you don't end up selling them. That would be surplus food, and they meet all food safety standards. And excess inventory. So this could be perhaps you have a large catering order and they call maybe a week before and you already ordered that food and it's shipped to the store. And it was unprepared, it's just the ingredients. And you know that you won't be able to recover that or you won't be able to serve that for your business. That would be considered excess inventory. All right, next I would like to go over establishing internal logistics regarding setting up and maintaining a food donation program. These are just really good tips that I always suggest. So this would be develop a donation area. So this could either be an area in the freezer or in the fridge where all your staff knows to put excess edible food. So whether that's a to-go order that they identified or anything of that sort, you develop a certain area where staff could, identify that that is excess edible food. And then number two would be to designate which staff will handle records and create a list. A lot of times, we see our closing staff, but ensuring all employees are knowledgeable about your SB 1383 program is crucial for simpler edible food recovery. And create an edible food recovery sheet for new employees during onboarding. So we do have resources on our website and throughout our site visits that we like to provide, virtually what we're going over in this presentation, actually. So if you either want to use those documents and share it with them and kind of go over everything, or if you want to create your own document, you could also post this in the break room so that way more employees could be familiar with it. That could also be beneficial. And lastly, I would say creating checklists for closing times. This can help keep inventory, and then this could kind of keep everyone in the loop, whether that's closing times, opening times, you know, depending on the needs of your business. And so a lot of times within SB 1383 food recovery conversations, the term of liability and food safety is brought up. We recommend to become familiar with the Bill Emerson and in California Good Samaritan Food Act of 1966, as this act provides limited liability protection for people who make good faith donations of food, grocery products to nonprofits that feed the hungry. So yeah. And so here are some other food safety tips. Would be number one, to do not distribute spoiled or contaminated food. Ensure that food is stored properly. Do not distribute bulging cans or unsealed items, and then monitor dates on packages. And so now that we kind of went over the overview of SB 1383, I really like to get into record keeping. And so obviously, depending on the needs of your business, we really like to think, and I encourage to ask yourself what works best for your organization or business. And so for physical record keeping, this could be, whether that's sheets in person where people could pencil or, pen it in. But though this is not required, our first requirement, so-called, would be to obtain a binder. So I think binders are really beneficial because they pose an area where, all information can be stored, and that could be your contracts, that could be the name of your food recovery organization, its contact information, the types of food, the quantity, the pounds, and you could even store educational material here. So whether that's the training manual or things of that sort, it's just a simpler way to, have that program. And on the right, you'll go ahead and see the agreement and the contract tracker, food donation tracking form. These are all materials that are available on our website. And if you want to request it privately through email, of course, go ahead and contact Corona Recycles at coronac.gov. We would be happy to help. Our second would be to record and track. So obviously the City of Corona has sample templates with all information, whether you want to use these or you want to create your own. It's not required that you use these. If you do want to create your own, that's great. And number three would be to train your staff to be familiar with these processes so that all records are accurate. Once again, stressing those educational flyers, making sure that they're available, and making sure that, managers or whoever wants to oversee that program is knowledgeable about it and can answer any questions. And lastly would be to report. So the city of Corona can ask for these records. And so having them available, so that way we could verify it, whether that's keeping all your records in one place, making sure that that program is up to date would be beneficial. All right. And then digital record keeping. So digital record keeping, you would still be required for the same requirements that you would for physical. So in terms of requirements, it's the same. It's just the type of platform you want to use. So maintaining records online can be more beneficial depending on the needs of your business. So while you still must follow the same requirements, this can allow for more organization. Perhaps you assign certain people to make those changes to a document, whether that's logging the types of food, the pounds, or things of that sort. But you could see, who made those changes. You could see the history of the document. And so this might be beneficial to determine who has access to your records. And then it could also be completed through a shared spreadsheet, through Excel, Google Forms, Word. So, you really have all the options out there. And then, of course, it would still have to document your food recovery organization, the types of food, the quantity in pounds, and frequency of donations. So it would still be, required for all those requirements as stated prior. But just depending on your needs of your business, you might want to look into that. And of course, we do have other ways where this could be even simpler. And so I do want to offer another benefit for digital record keeping, which would be applications like Carrot. Carrot, which can make digital record keeping even simpler, has partnered with the City of Corona, which is a free SB 1383 compliance software for businesses and nonprofits to donate and track surplus edible food. Today, we have Allison here to share a little bit more about the features and benefits of using Carrot, including its opportunities to empower nonprofits and communities by providing equal access to surplus food and resources. Allison, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and you can go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So all of that sounds really daunting, doesn't it? It's a lot to learn. It's a lot of new things to do. And I come from a background where I've worked in the event space, I've worked for restaurants, I have also worked for nonprofit organizations, and I found myself spending hours on the phone trying to call when I had a donation available to see if there was anyone that could possibly get that donation at that time. And I thought, "Ugh, in the age of digital media, there really needs to be something to make this easy, right?" So I spent 5 years creating the Carrot app. And Carrot was specifically designed in order for businesses just like yours to easily comply for free with Senate Bill 1383. And let me start a presentation for you. So Carrot was designed to be a food donation matching and tracking platform. What that means is that you will be able to find local food recovery organizations by creating an account, posting on the app, and then we'll send out a notification to the local food recovery organizations that are around you within a 25-mile radius saying, "Hey, do you want this food?" The nonprofits are then able to reserve that donation. By entering your information about the donation on the Carrot app, it's already starting the process of tracking your records that you need for SB 1383. So one thing that it does is it makes it really easy for all of you and your staff members. You can have multiple shift leaders, you can have different people that are on management or on staff to be able to have their own login and create a Carrot account and create food donations on Carrot. If you're already partnering with a food recovery organization, or if you've partnered with one before on Carrot and you really like working with them, you can actually assign a donation to them for first right of refusal. Or if you just post it blankly without an assigned nonprofit organization, we'll send it out to our list of food recovery organizations. When a food recovery organization accepts your donation, we automatically generate that contract that you need to show to the city to show that you're in compliance with Senate Bill 1383, that you have an agreement established with a nonprofit. And then, as the nonprofit picks up your food, they'll be able to track the weights of your donation, which is another thing that's required for Senate Bill 1383. It records all of the food recovery information, contact information, your food types, your donation frequency, and the quantity in pounds. So you might be thinking, okay, how do I sign up? Oh, this is a whole thing. I gotta go online. I gotta find the website. Well, the good news is that because we're partnering with the City of Corona, we've already created an account for you, most likely. You'll be able to receive an invitation to your email by either reaching out to us at Carrot or reaching out to the City of Corona staff to ask to be added as a team member to your organization. Once you have received an invitation, you'll be able to log in at my.carrot.com, enter your email, create a password, and then you'll be able to, off to the races, start posting food donations. Or you can also download the Carrot app, which is Carrot Food Donation and Rescue app in both the Apple and the Google Play Store. And again, same thing, you'll be able to say, I want to create an account as a team member, enter your email, and you'll be able to create a password there. And once that pops up, you'll see the location name of your business that you have been invited to. You'll just select that and click next. If there are no pending invites, that either means that you haven't reached out to us yet at the City of Corona or at Carrot to be added to your account, or that might mean that we have the wrong email address for you. So again, just reach out. If for some reason you've created an account and you forgot your password, or maybe you're using an email address that was used by a former employee, like a business email address, you might just need to reset your password. And like all of the other websites that are out there, when you go to the login screen, you'll see a forgot password button. You'll click that, type in your email address, and press reset password. You'll be emailed a one-time passcode, and you'll enter that in on the Carrot website to be able to, or on the app, to be able to now set a new password. Our password requirements are you must have one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, a number, and a special character. I know, it's annoying. I'm sorry, but the internet is full of thieves. If for some reason you're new to Carrot, or maybe or you're new to the city and you have not yet had a Carrot account created for you by the city, you'll also be able to create a new account on Carrot just by clicking sign up and entering that you're wanting to donate food or goods. Then you'll be prompted to enter information about yourself, On the second page, you'll be prompted to enter information about your business. If you have any problems at all in signing up on Carrot, you can always contact us at hello@carrot.com. So they already kind of covered some things that you can donate today, but I want to go through some things that weren't mentioned. A lot of businesses don't realize that if they have crushed cans that are not bulging or slightly damaged boxes, if they have food that is beyond the freshness date that you generally serve your customers, or maybe it's just at the expiration date, those foods generally are still good to eat for a period of time, depending on the type of food. If it's dairy, it's got 3 days. If it's meat, it's got probably about a week, unless it's frozen, and then it's got maybe a month or more. And then if it's packaged goods, then it depends on what's inside. If it's got oil inside, it might be a few months. If it doesn't have oil inside, it could be a few years. A lot of these businesses put these expiration dates on their product just because they want the freshest version of their product, but they're still totally nutritious and good to eat. And so we see a lot of those kinds of donations come in on Carrot all the time, and they go very quickly. The nonprofits want those to serve their clients and their community in need. You can donate all prepared food. And you can actually donate non-food as well. So we've seen a lot of kitchens that are changing out their cutlery, or maybe they had a bunch of to-go packaging that they're not using anymore. They switched to a new type. They'll post those on Carrot, and those will get picked up by the nonprofit organizations. And even though we cannot donate spoiled or contaminated food or food that has timed out on Carrot for edible consumption, we actually are partnering with local farmers in the area that have pigs, chickens, goats, rabbits, dogs, you name it. And they might be interested in your donation as animal feed. So on Carrot, when you're selecting the type of food that you have to donate, you can select animal feed, and they'll get a ping to let them know that there's a donation available for their farm animals on Carrot. So a lot of people ask, how should I prepare my food? What do I need to do? There's best practices. There are no rules, but there are best practices that I'd like to share with you today. One really important thing for a nonprofit organization to know is what the food is. So the person that picks up the food from you might not necessarily be the person that's going to take that food and serve it to people. So you should definitely write what it is that you're donating. Is it mashed potatoes? Is it chicken cacciatore? And then you'll add the prepared date. And if there's an expiration date that they should know that's not on the packaging for some reason, you should write that on there as well. It's also best practices to list any of the major allergens. A really important note is do not directly mix different types of meals with one another. So if you have a whole bunch of peas and carrots that are cooked and mashed potatoes and some ham, don't put them in the same container. You should definitely put those in different containers because they all reheat at a different temperature and a different time. It's just best to not try and contaminate different types of foods with each other. And uncooked meats should always be kept in separate containers because that's another possibility to introduce bacteria that you don't want growing. So if you've got some fish and you also have some chicken, definitely keep those in separate containers as well, even if they're frozen. A lot of people are like, how do I take care of this to-go order, right? I've got 15 meals that I just had for a catering order and nobody wants it now. The people that were supposed to come get it got a flat tire. You can put those foods into your cooler, your refrigerator, or you can flash freeze them. And that way you can donate them knowing that they've been kept in food safe temperatures up until the point that the nonprofit comes to pick it up. Once the nonprofit comes and picks it up from you, it is now the nonprofit's responsibility and liability to make sure that temperature remains safe. It is no longer your responsibility to make sure that temperature is remaining safe once you hand it over to the nonprofit organization. And we mentioned before, keeping a labeled place in your business where donations go is very important. I've had so many nonprofits call me crying because there was a large donation that they reserved on Carrot, and when they showed up, the staff had changed over and they didn't know what it was, so they threw it away or they used it for something else. So if you're going to have a donation, definitely keep it out of your stock and inventory of regular food that you're going to be using and put it in a labeled place that's for the food recovery program that you guys are setting up. Now, Here comes the hard part. It's not that hard at all. The hardest part of Carrot is getting on Carrot, signing in. Most everybody has that calls us with difficulties calls us with I forgot my password or something like that. This is the easy part. Once you're logged in, you'll be able to see a big donate button. You'll press that button, and in the fields, you're going to put information there for the nonprofit organization to know why they want your donation. So give it an appetizing title. If you just say donation or you say the date, and I get an email saying, 12, 16, 24 is available. I'm not going to want to open that donation as much as if I see a donation that says 3 pepperoni pizzas are available. And then in the description, you can add information such as what's the packaging of this donation? How much is there? Is there any specific instructions that I need to know about who to talk to once I arrive? And also information about the expiration date or the freshness of that item. You'll select the size of vehicle that would be needed to pick up that donation. So if you have a really large donation, maybe your freezer broke down, you might need a van to come pick it up rather than a car. Somebody shows up with a car too small, and suddenly you're left with a donation that's only half taken. So definitely choose the right size vehicle so that nonprofits can know whether or not they have the resources to come get your donation. Under type of donation, I mentioned before, you can choose animal feed down at the bottom there. We also have dairy, produce, meat, prepared, bakery, beverages, non-perishables, non-food items, frozen, and try not to donate compost. We don't have any farmers in the area that want compost for the city of Corona, but that is an option for other areas if you're telling your friends about Carrot. Then you'll decide whether or not you have the ability and your staff to deliver the donation to the nonprofit, which is always a big help. It's just like volunteering. Or you can request for them to send a volunteer to come pick it up. You can choose a one-time or a recurring donation. If you're going to have every Friday, you're going to clean out your inventory and you just want to get a system going where somebody's set up to come at Friday at the same time, you can choose a recurring donation. Then you'll choose a start and an end date. Now, here's a really important tip that I'm going to tell you right now. When you're donating food, leave as much time as possible for the nonprofit to be able to reserve that donation, to see the email, reserve the donation, and find somebody who can go get it. So if you're donating at night, try and save it so that you'll also be able to donate it the next morning and alert your morning staff and crew that the donation is there. If you're going to be donating on the weekend, try and hold it over for a Monday morning or Monday afternoon pickup. And if you're donating during the day, try to give it at least a 5-hour window so that the nonprofit has time to respond and find somebody to go pick up that donation. Then, if you want to, you can select a nonprofit organization. Again, you don't have to, and we highly encourage you not to, especially if you don't already have an established relationship with that nonprofit. If I'm a nonprofit and I see a donation that's posted to me and I don't know who it is and what it is, and I don't have the time to deal with it, most likely that nonprofit is not going to react to that donation. So try and not assign a nonprofit until you already have an established relationship with them. The final stage is you'll upload a photo of the donation. Try to show what the food is and the quality of it. So as you can see, we have a picture of the actual meal versus a picture of the bags that the meals come in. If you can, upload a photo of the actual meal so the nonprofit knows what exactly they're going to be picking up from you. And then the next step, sometimes, not very often, but sometimes a nonprofit will reserve the donation and then they'll get too busy because a client comes in with some problem that they have and they'll forget to pick up the donation. If you try contacting them, we have a chat feature on Carrot. You'll also be able to see their phone number and they're not being responsive. You can click on the 3 dots on your donation in the upper right-hand corner and you can repost it. This will release the donation from the nonprofit that originally reserved it and now make it available for other nonprofits that want your donation. If you end up posting a donation and realizing that you actually need to take something out or put some new food in, or you need to change the date or time frame, you can also on this menu edit the donation and change any of the details that you put in previously. Or if you need to cancel a donation, something came up and now you're unavailable to be able to give the food, you can do so here as well. And then if you find yourself reposting the same donation over and over again, you can copy the donation to make it so that you don't have to re-enter the same information over and over again. So what you'll need to know after you start donating on Carrot is that the City of Corona is going to come by and do some inspections. And what they're going to be asking for are those same things that we said before. You'll need to show that you have a partnership agreement. To do so, you'll need to log on a web browser, not on the app, and find the partnerships menu. In the partnerships menu, you'll see onboarding progress and then you'll see agreements. You can ignore that onboarding progress and just go to the agreements. Then you'll be able to download all of the agreements that you have currently with the nonprofit organizations that have picked up from you. You usually only need to show one to be in compliance. Another thing they'll ask you to do is they'll ask you to show your donation history. So you can go to all donations. In the all donations menu, you'll be able to see a time frame and you'll be able to set the dates from when you started donating until today's date. Then you'll be able to show the complete list of your donations, the types of foods you donated, the partners that you had that picked them up, and you'll be able to show all of the other details that you need for CalRecycle's compliance. And I want to note here, if you try and post a donation, and for some reason or another, maybe it's Christmas, maybe it snowed, who knows, but a nonprofit organization nearby was unable to pick up your donation, you'll have a record of that, showing that you've tried in good faith to make that donation, and that is still compliance with CalRecycle. As long as you're trying to donate and you're making sure that none of your food waste is being thrown away, none of your edible food waste is being thrown away or put into the compost bins, and you're trying to donate, you'll be able to show that to the team and they'll be able to mark you as compliant. So a lot of people ask, who does this food go to? Carrot partners with a wider array of nonprofit organizations than any food bank because we're dealing with so much more prepared food. We still partner with 501c3 organizations, but we might partner with some that you wouldn't think of normally when you're thinking of donating food. These donations are going to soup kitchens, shelters, sometimes halfway houses, and you're also being able to feed people that are disproportionately affected by the stresses of society. So all of the nonprofit organizations do use that food. They do not resell it, and they give it to someone, a family, or a person in need. And if you have a favorite nonprofit organization that you don't see on Carrot, tell us about it because we want to be able to get them signed up to be able to receive donations from you as well. So just recapping, donating with dignity, make sure that your donations are something that people would want, something that you would serve your own family members. There is no size requirement. Try to donate larger quantities of donations if you can, because that always makes it worth the gas money for the nonprofit organization. And then if a nonprofit organization is able to, based on their needs, they'll reserve your donation. If you ever need help, we have a support button on both our app and on our dashboard version of Carrot. You'll click on that and you'll see a list of topics that we get asked a lot. If you do not find the topic that you're looking for and you still have a question, you'll be able to hit the contact support button and send us a ticket, which one of our staff members, such as myself or Emily that you see on the call here, will be able to respond to you right away. And then the last two slides on here, I'll follow up with those on the call and send you these, are printable documents. So these go over the basic questions that we get asked about how to use Carrot and then what you can donate. It also has a QR code for your other staff and employees that want to use the Carrot app on their own devices, such as a phone or an iPad. And then this should also be printed. So just going over again, some of the things that can be donated. You can donate meat and seafood. You can donate baked goods. You can donate frozen foods. And all of the information about how to keep that food safe is listed on this document here. So with that, I'm going to thank you all. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. The best way is always by email, hello@carrot.com. But if you really need something right away, you can also call us at 833-366-3365. Have a great day, and thank you so much for starting your food donation program. With that, I'll stop.